guys who have been traded, guys who have been released, guys who have been signed to different teams. A lot of people are in a lot of different jerseys this year, and we still got a pool of quality guys still in the free agency area. So, first and foremost, best free agency trade or signings thus far. Who would you give it to?
All right. So honestly, I probably put it at 3 teams. I'm gonna say Washington, the
Okay.
Bears, and the Broncos as
Mm-hmm.
far as their defense. They the Bears just completely changed the trenches up for their team. So we know what the defense looked like. It was solid last year, but they're really trying to hone it in, make that really their strength. And then one of the things that was really
Mm-hmm.
trash for them was they O line, and they done picked up 2 different guys. Um, I guess you kind of hope that one of them kind of works out, but over and all, at least we know that they're working on to make sure that their trenches are top notch. Washington, if nobody saw this trade, you're like, oh, that's great for Washington, but you're wondering what the hell is Houston doing? They traded Laremy Tunsil. Your O line was already trash, and you just traded your best O lineman, one of
Your
the
your
one of the best
best
left
tackle.
tackles in the league. And it was weird. But with this, I mean, if anyone, if you've seen the different trades that Washington has made, especially for their defense,
They're
they're taking
some
full
good
advantage
trades,
of that
man. Some
rookie
good
contract,
moves.
and they're gonna make sure if we don't get to the we don't if we don't get back to the NFC champ, we're gonna at least gonna be we you gonna damn sure believe that we gonna be headed our way towards that. We're gonna be competitive towards it, and so it's lovely to see an organization do that, especially with such a young quarterback.
That window, that window of opportunity, especially in that rookie deal, and you got a quarterback who's
Hey,
standing on business. I mean, you might as well take advantage of it as much as possible, especially the guys
mm-hmm.
they're picking up. They're all meant to solidify the run for next year. Perfect guy. And you said
Yeah,
the
the
Broncos,
Broncos
right?
just made a bunch of defensive. I mean, if you're looking at Washington, the opposite of them is the 49ers. And the Broncos picked up 2 hair
Mm-hmm.
guys. They got Greenlaw and Ufanga at the safety position. And then they
Mm-hmm.
just picked up Ingram today. So they trying to give solid pick. So they
Solid
trying to
pickup.
give
Solid,
Bo Nix a little safety
solid.
blanket, and they trying to make sure that defense is tight. It's you're looking up for him.
When when healthy,
No,
Ingram's one of the
he
most
is.
dynamic tight ends
He
in the
definitely
league when
is.
healthy. So if you're gonna you getting three, those are vets, quality vets that you're
Hmm.
gonna add to your team that's already looking like okay. The Chiefs look like they might be taking a little
Yeah.
dip this year, with the guys that go let trade and let test out the free agency. They look like they're taking a dip. You got to take full advantage. The Raiders ain't back yet. They're still trying to figure themselves out. And the Chargers, as nice as the Chargers are becoming, they still are probably a year or two away. If you're the Broncos, you might as well go all in and see what Bo Nix can actually do in
Hmm.
year two, because he didn't come in as a
No.
young quarterback. I mean
25.
at the time period
Yeah.
so he came in with yeah, so he already came in season, so you ain't got much time to just be playing around and seeing this guys here and there. You got to go ahead and hit while the iron's hot and keep rolling. So I like those two. I like those three teams you said, and then you said what about the losers in that? Who so
I
far? Who are
got
your
some.
losers at this
Well,
point?
first off, like I said, Houston. I don't like that O line. That O line is going to be pretty bad this year, unless they got a real plan and they plan on hitting it hard in the draft. I'm not going to have too much to look for them. Probably something similar to last year, first round knockout. Kind of is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Um, Put them on again. 49ers. Got rid of Greenlaw, got rid of Travarius,
Okay.
got rid of Ufanga, got rid of Debo, got rid of Juszczyk.
You're,
I think they got rid of 2 linemen
you're
too.
putting so much. You're putting so much on Purdy
So
to make something
much.
happen. I don't know if they're trying to see if Purdy can do it, or are they just trying to do an overall rebuild of their entire situation? Because at this point, you I don't
I
like
wouldn't
anything
call
they're
it a
doing.
rebuild. I'll call it a retool. I think Lynch and what's my man what thing was Shanahan. They're
And
both really good at what they do. So we'll kind of see how it plays out.
they can evaluate
Um,
talent.
I heard about it. I don't think it's gonna happen, but they probably say be on the lookout for a potential McCaffrey trade. I don't think they will with that contract, but we'll see how that goes. Um, it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
There's options that they can figure out here with McCaffrey. There's going to be a team who's going to be willing to dive on that
Oh yeah,
contract
most
to see
def.
what they got. And McCaffrey is an elite talent. I'm gonna throw a team in there that I've always talked about anyway, but
Oh,
the
they
Jaguars.
was right next
They've
for me.
missed out
Oh, they
on
was right next for me.
God.
Ugh.
You Christian Kirk gone, Ingram's gone. You're not. It doesn't seem like you're retooling anything. You end up getting one wide receiver, but it's like, is he the guy? It doesn't make sense to me what they're trying to do. Obviously, this is a new GM, new head coach, so their methods are still kind of see what they're trying, trying to
Yeah,
see fill it out. But at the moment, I'm not too fond of a team who's doing what they're doing and they're trying to get a new stadium and hopefully host a Super Bowl or something like that. I don't. Trevor Lawrence,
that that that's that's your
he needs
ticket
to
right there. You
be.
remember what I told you 3 years ago was coming up? I said y'all window was these next
Yeah,
2 years, and if y'all don't do nothing with it, you got to
and
pay him. And once you pay him, you ain't
mhm.
gonna have no room for it. And now look at you.
So they're and you don't want to. The Jaguars will fall into this situation too, and they don't want to do this again. But it tends to be what happens to the Jaguars more so than any other team. They end up being a team that veterans will sign to just to have a year
Hmm.
off, and like they just come to sign a year off. Like you're in warm weather, you get a full contract because you ain't got state tax,
Hmm.
right? So you just got the federal tax you got to deal with, and you're again warm weather. The city of Jackson is not as expensive compared to the rest of the state, and you could there's a you can get anywhere from that area. So I I think they may fall into that point where they're just a team that vets might sign to just because they get a free check and a free off week because they know you're not going anywhere. In a division that is terrible. The Texans ain't great. The Titans ain't great. The Colts ain't great. The Jags ain't great. And the Texans are going to win by default, even when you just said they got a
Yeah.
bad O line.
So something that I could
So,
see,
so
not when you phrase it that way, something that I could potentially see happen is that they have a somewhat like a Saints situation, and they're pretty much almost there, where they finna be in cap hell for the next 5 6 years because, like you said, if a bunch of vets start coming there because they think they can get a free year or two, what if they get a bunch of good vets at one given point, and then for the next 2 or 3 years they continuously making runs. Trevor looks good. Oh, cool. Let me pay him
yeah,
another contract. All that talent leaves, and
and
you're all the way back in cap hell. And
you're
it's dang. The Saints right now are fighting. I mean, what? I think they said they are 11
yeah,
million over
I'm,
and won't be nothing but 45 under in 2026, bro.
there's no in that in this part. I was still surprised that somebody took that job for the Saints for their first spot when they know they can't make the moves they want to make due to having that type of cap hit.
That's a real rebuild.
The Saints, it's it's crazy, but I will say this: there is talent out there that these teams can jump on. Again, I don't like the Texans thing. You let Diggs kind of see what's else out there. I like Diggs for any young quarterback who can handle that type of uh, expectations or pressure from a
Yeah.
quality receiver. And I thought CJ would have been a guy that you would have stick Diggs with for the long run, but you're letting that slide. Tunsil going where he's going, it just doesn't make sense. They don't look like they're trying to win anything, and I really got to see what this GM is thinking because that's not a move that the head coach, in my opinion, would make unless the GM can guarantee like we got something planned for the
Well,
future
the
for this
thing
team.
is with Laramie was that Laramie has 2 more years on the deal, which is going to be this year in 26. And so the same way I kind of looked at it, I said this is great for Washington unless they decide to pay him. Yeah, I say pay these
Yeah,
next 2 years, cool. Don't extend him. In 2 years, he's gonna be 33 years old. He's already had injuries in the past. I think you can get something good out of him because you already have a solid O line. I think with Laramie, it makes it that much more better. and so you can probably move
Yeah,
that
we'll see.
line a little bit, put people in better positions, and so take advantage of these next 2 years with Laramie. But I think Houston kind of saw that down the line when one, you got to pay, CJ, you got to pay Tank, you got to. They already paying. Dang, what's the running back name? Dang, I can't believe I blanked on his name. Yeah,
For the Texans?
from the Bengals. Not Mixon.
Uh,
Is it Mixon?
no, Mixon. I thought Mixon got moved to. He got he got moved to the. He
Okay,
got
yeah,
moved to the
you
Texans.
already
Yeah,
paying
Mixon
Mixon
went to
for
Texans.
another year unless you want to do some type of restructure there. So, they have. Oh, they're gonna have to pay some people because you also got that. You got Daniil Hunter. You got Will Anderson on the come up. Him and CJ, you got to pay both of those guys. So I think they kind of saw where that was headed and it was like, let's try to get a little bit younger on this team. Our core is already young, so let's try to build on that. Stingley's coming up after a while too. Hey, that's gonna be a contract too because Stingley ain't no slouch out there.
Stingley ain't no slouch, and if he touches the market, he'll be very coveted. If he touches the market, you're
Easy
not going to get him
25.
back.